I'm a millennial and I remember the global financial crisis because my husband and we bought a house about a year before the global financial crisis. If you are under the age of 35, you probably don't remember that. The Wall Street Journal and a bunch of other economists are now saying that the United States is headed now for a recession. This was already predicted to happen last year, and Kamala Harris talked about it on her campaign trail. Now, what does that mean for you? So when my husband and we bought our house in 2007, we had it for about a year, and then things started to go very wrong very quickly. And this was way back. Like, if you don't remember this time because you're too young, I need to just the alarm bells are flashing, okay? You need to have emergency funds and you need to pull them together now.
All right, before we get into all of the fear mongering and things like that, let me give you a little bit of a history lesson as a person that is also a millennial, but I am a geriatric millennial, meaning that I'm at the very end of the spectrum, not the spectrum as far as whether or not I'm smart or not, the very end of the spectrum of what a millennial is, meaning that in 2008, I was 26 years old. I had just had a new daughter. I had just lost my job, and I was also in a city impacted, and I was telling y'all this in another video. I was in a city that was impacted more than any other city, I believe, in the United States of America, and that's in Detroit, Michigan. So I suffered through it. I was impacted by it firsthand. Auto industry was absolutely destroyed as a result of it. The 2008 recession, which is a real recession, has nothing to do with anything that's happening right now. The 2008 recession was caused by Wall Street bankers. It was because a bunch of people was taking out loans for homes that they could not afford, and more importantly, Wall Street bankers were getting greedy and they were offering loans to people, even illegal immigrants that were not supposed to be getting loans that they did not qualify for. They were offering arms, balloon loans, all kind of stuff. You didn't have a job, any of that. And so the government agencies, which is one of the things that the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency is making sure that doesn't happen, were all compromised. They were all in bed with the bankers because they was making big money as a result of it. The banks were too big to fail. We didn't make anything inside of the United States of America, so we didn't have anything to fall back on because the majority of the revenue that was being generated was from interest payments, specifically that were designated from homes, credit cards, and so on and so forth. So when the housing crisis was basically exacerbated by the bankers, it caused a domino effect and for everything else to collapse as a result of it. Nobody can get loans anymore. The auto industry crashed. People were losing their homes, and there were people literally killing themselves because of what was happening. Now, if you had a 401k, that was absolutely decimated. Obviously, it came back because everything is cyclical. But just a small, really quick history lesson. And if you want to watch a movie or you want to read a book about it, I prefer the book over the movie, but the movie was just as much as phenomenal as the book. Read The Big Short or go and watch The Big Short. It literally explains to you how they got greedy, took advantage of, and caused the market crash, which started with homes, and then that transitioned over into every single thing else that was happening. This has nothing to do. As a matter of fact, we were truly in a financial crisis over the last 4 years. We were in an affordability crisis, and it was being propped up artificially by the Democrats with all of these federal jobs, and they were acting like they were actually making a lot of jobs or creating a lot of jobs, but it wasn't in the private sector. It was in the government sector, okay? So what Trump is basically doing is leveraging tariffs and leveraging the power of the U.S. economy to create jobs and incentivize people to create jobs inside of the United States of America, like SoftBank, Apple, all of these AI research firms, all of these places like NVIDIA. Everybody, OpenAI, everybody is being incentivized to invest in the United States of America so that we'll create jobs. And he's also charging a surcharge on other countries that are basically taking advantage of the U.S. economy, but does not invest here and does not create jobs here. That is the truth. This is nothing. This has nothing to do with a recession. All right? This is people making bad decisions on a regular basis and then also thinking that the federal government is going to protect them because of what the Biden administration done. This is nothing. Again, for those of you that's not young enough or not old enough and you too young to actually know what it was like or was alive and as an adult and outside during that time, trust me, '08 was probably the worst time of my life as far as my everyday existence, trying to figure out what to do, how I'm going to do it, and making it through. Um, the United States of America very much is thriving right now. Let me get to the rest of what she's talking about. And I always like to link back to the content creator. So that link will be down in the description. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Also, we got Stock Club coming up. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's rock.
You're probably like, I don't have any money. I live paycheck to paycheck. There's no way that I could build an emergency fund. Well, that means you're going to have to start pulling back. You're going to have to cancel your Netflix, cancel your Amazon, cancel everything that is a subscription, cancel your Audible, whatever. Like, just cancel it. Only hold on to like one thing that you really, really can't live without. And then you need to start selling off some things like clothes, electronics, furniture you don't use. America, you guys actually have a lot of crap in your giant houses. Sell off whatever you can. And
I did a little bit of research and I realized that this woman is from America, but she doesn't live in America. I believe she's in like Great Britain or something. So this is the image that a lot of these people have of the United States of America that's not even from here. And they have no clue whatsoever. No clue whatsoever. But I want to hear the rest of what she got to say, and then we're going to come back and we'll summarize the whole thing.
And then hunker down. Here's the thing. After the global financial crisis, my husband and I, not only did we lose 30 to 40% of our worth of our home,
which obviously not only came back for that particular property, regardless of whether they stayed in that home or not. I don't know what she's going to say, but it exploded exponentially. What people are having a conversation about actually is not even the value of the homes. It's the property taxes that's attached to the values of the homes.
And we were underwater for the next 8-9 years. Like, our house never recovered its value. But on top of that, the banks were defrauding us. Our mortgage company placed a forced flood insurance policy on our house, and we knew that it was fraudulent because the deed of our home said not in a flood zone. We didn't have the money for a lawyer. We didn't know what was going on. So what we decided to do was to just pay this flood insurance policy because they threatened to take our house away from us. Fast forward a couple years after that, turns out that was part of a major scam by the bank. I'm not going to mention the name of the bank, but it was a false multi-account scam that the higher ups in the bank were making the bank tellers do, like open up accounts for people, multiple accounts in their name without them knowing. And
so it sounds like she just got finessed, and so she upset about it.
Were the targets of that. Businesses are going to start to close. In the wake of the global financial crisis, many of my family members shut their businesses up. Then what's going to happen is banks are going to start lending less because they need collateral against the loans, which means that none of the banks are going to be offering loans to start new businesses, right? Or start new ventures, which means that job growth.
There's a difference between a secured loan and an unsecured loan. An unsecured loan means that they're just giving you money based off of what they project your ability to be able to pay back. A secured loan, because I worked for banks for a long time, so I understand exactly how they work and how they pivoted as a result of the 2008 financial crisis, to which Obama was the one that shepherded what happened and all of the changes. Secured loans are basically loans that are secured against something that the banks can get. If, in fact, you do default and no longer want to pay the loan, they then can recover those losses by whatever it is that they secure it against, okay?
Growth is going to stagnate, and then it's going to start going reverse, and we're going to see an increase, major increase in unemployment. Now, we've already seen unemployment in the federal system because they've been laying off tens of thousands of workers from the government, so that's already started. Finally, they're
laying off workers from the federal government because we have a $1 to $2 trillion deficit, and we're spending more on things, especially all of the fraud that all of our money is leaving out for. We're spending money on things that we can't afford. More importantly, we're spending money on people that are not efficient at their jobs.
Your passport, now. Like if you haven't gotten your passport already, then what are you doing? You should have gotten it months ago. And then you need to start researching countries that you can get to if things go really bad. Because if there's one thing that I can tell you is that if this recession is bad enough that he caused, he will not admit to it, and then he will create a diversion to take the talk away from it. And what is one really good diversion? An act of war. Just remember that the one.
Oh my God. Trump is, listen. This woman is so delusional. She's so off. It almost angers me to react to some of the stuff that y'all send me. But again, I always like to make sure that I give credit to the content creators because it's the right thing to do. So that link will be in the description. Trump is actually the person that started no new wars. And not only that, he's, as of today, as of the recording of this video, he is going over to Russia and speaking with Putin directly so that he can end the Ukraine war, in which Biden and Kamala Harris started this proxy war to make sure that they continue to enrich their friends, in my opinion. Anyways, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. I'm out.